So, gonna be going over completing this square today. This is gonna be our equation, so ax squared, bx, and c. In order to do this, you're gonna have to bracket your first two terms right off the start. So in this case, ax squared and bx will be bracketed, while c will remain outside of the bracket. So 2x squared plus 12x, 3 remains outside, plus 3. Next step is to move your a term outside of the bracket before, and then use that term to divide everything inside the bracket. So this is our a term for us right now, the 2. Can move this outside of the bracket, so it'll be 2, and then divide this 2 by everything inside of the bracket. So it'll be 2 divided by this number and this number. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. You don't have to write the 1, you just write x squared. 2 divided by 12x is 6x plus 6x, and the 3 remains as it was, plus 3. Next step, gonna go like this. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky if you haven't learned this yet, but you're gonna make up a c value. So we're gonna pretend is that these two numbers aren't here. It's only these two. Now, this is the ax squared and this is bx. How would you get c if this was to be a perfect square? There's an equation for that to get the c term if you only have these two. And this is the equation right over here. C equals b divided by 2 squared. That's the equation. So if b was 4, let's say for an example, it'd be 4 divided by 2 squared, or 2 squared, so c would equal 4 if the b term was 4 as well. We're going back to our original equation. We're over here. So 6, remember, c equals b divided by 2 squared. That is our equation for the sixth term. And then you move it down to c equals 6 divided by 2 squared. So c equals 3 squared. So c would equal 9. I'm going to move it down, bracket it. Oh, whoops, my bad. Try to type it in. Gonna go back. So 6x, we agreed that the c term is 9, plus 9. Now you're gonna subtract, you're gonna add a minus 9 here too to get rid of the positive 9. The reason for that being is we don't really want the positive 9 and the negative 9 there. The reason you added in is to get a correct c term or a k term at the end. So you're gonna bracket it at the end. This will be explained with further detail on the website. You can refer to the website if you're a bit confused about this. Remember, the 3 remains as it is. Now, we don't want the negative 9 inside the bracket because this is not ax squared plus bx plus c. There's an extra term in here. To move this outside of the bracket, you're going to have to take this number, which comes before the bracket, and multiply it by this term to move it out. So, going to take your 2, x squared plus 6x, leave the positive 9 as is inside the bracket. Now, what's 2 times negative 9? So by that I meant multiply these two terms, 2 and negative 9, which is negative 18. Close the bracket over here, add the negative 18 to the end with the positive 3. And just gonna do this part now. This part's easy. Just gonna add these two terms together. Plus 6x plus 9. Negative 18 plus positive 3, or negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. Now, what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to, for a second, pretend that these two numbers, the 2 and the negative 15, are not present. They are not there, and they're not in this equation. How would you factor this over here. Remember, product and sum. So by that I mean, I'm gonna erase this part for a second. By that what I mean is that how would you factor this if you only had this term in the middle over here? So this term, how would you factor this? Remember, this is the C value, this is the B value. So whichever two numbers multiply into the C value and add to the B value will be your factors. So what times what equals 9, and what plus what equals 6. That's pretty easy. You should know that by now. 3 times 3 equals 9, and 3 plus 3 equals 6. So your terms would be x plus 3 and x plus 3. But we are going to simplify it. There are two of them, so x plus 3 squared. Now in your final equation, you will condense this entire part into this. So like this. Follow along. And the final answer will be y equals 2. This is your a term. X plus 3. Remember this part comes in here. Squared. This is your h term. Plus k. Your k term is negative 15. So you can do, actually I'll make it simpler just by adding a minus there. Same thing, you can do plus bracket negative 15 or just do minus 15. It's all up to you. Oh, this term is a lot easier, a lot neater as well. So you can see now that this is your vertex form. To check your work, it's very easy. You can see it like this. Take this positive 3 and look at your original, what you started, what you condensed it into, what you condensed it from, and reverse factor. Positive 3 times positive 3 is 9, which is the C term. Positive 3 plus positive 3 is 6, which is the B term. So you now know that this equation is indeed correct. And I'm just going to highlight it really, really fast. So now you know that this term is going to be your final answer. And from this, in order to graph it, to get your x-intercept and y-intercept, because the vertex is already given to you, optimal value, the axis of symmetry. In order to get the rest of that, you can refer back to my website. Scroll up to the first section, second part, and it will explain how to graph this equation on a normal graph. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope this helped.